soy el fuego que...
Hey everybody, welcome back to your Realtor Sensei show, the first one of 2022. And we have a special guest, Cari, Briner, that it is visiting us today. And I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, Sandra. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, my name is Carrie Briner. I am really honored to be a guest on the show. Happy New Year, everyone. I have been in the real estate industry for 23 years. So I've been an entrepreneur since I was 22 years old, which is somewhat unique because, I think it's more common for young people to get into entrepreneurship in real estate. But when I did, there wasn't as many. And so I really have spent my entire professional life in the real estate industry and as an entrepreneur. Lots of personal and professional growth opportunities for sure along the 23 years. And in those 23 years, I've done a lot of things. I was a top producing real estate agent while I raised my boys for a number of years. I grew the #1 real estate brokerage in the state of Minnesota in closed transactions. We were doing about 3,500 sales a year in that brokerage. So we had a great run and some great growth. I also was the director of expansion at Hergenrother Realty Group, which is one of the top expansion teams in the country. And we grew that team to 25 locations across the country. They're still growing throughout the country as well. And then I grew a national coaching company the last few years. And so over the years, I've helped hundreds of entrepreneurs build their real estate businesses and teams. I've recruited over 1,500 people to the industry. I guess what most people like to talk with me about and where my coaching is a little bit different is, after spending the first 10 years of my life being an entrepreneur and working in real estate and trying to figure out how to be a mom and have a good life and build a big business, I had a lot of growth. I had a lot of learning opportunity. In fact, much of my business was very, very successful, but my life was not always great because I had a hard time, figuring out how to integrate the two. And when I started to share my story about kind of ended up kind of falling into this industry and then becoming a workaholic and figuring out how I was going to be able to be a good mom and have a good relationship and take care of my health and all the things I needed to do, but still keep up with my business and all the struggles I went through, I realized that I wasn't alone and most realtors were resonating with my message. And so I call myself a transformed workaholic. I spent the last 8 years really working on myself. And I've had a tremendous amount of personal growth. I took care of my health. I got into a much healthier relationship with myself. I have an incredible marriage now. I got remarried. I repaired just really, my relationships, or at least in my mind, my relationships with my boys, because I did feel guilty about not being able to be as present of a mom during all those years I worked. And so I really just, realized that if I help myself and if I become better in my personal life, I'm going to have a better business. It's counterintuitive. Oftentimes we don't think we have time for those things because we worry that our business will start to wane. We won't have the business opportunities, but actually when you focus on yourself, your business grows more because our business can only grow to the extent that we do as a human being. And so that was just a really, really great lesson I learned, Sandra, over the years. And so I brought that into my coaching. Most of the people that coach with me, they are building big businesses. I've got a lot of experience in that, but more importantly, as a holistic business coach and as partnering with agents now to help them build their businesses across the country, I want them to have a fantastic life at the same time that they're building their business. And so we're working through that. And that's really where my passion lies.
Wow, it's very impressive. And, you're totally right when you talk and say about we have the fear that if we're going to stop on concentrating in the business, and we become, I believe most of us become workaholics.
Yes.
And then you forget about your children, your partner, and our relationship is just concentrated in become better business owners, which I understand. And it's unbelievable that you're telling me that it's possible, because I wake up every day and I said, what can I do? How can I level And it's not easy. It's not easy. So as I
No.
understand, in holistic coaching is a program that incorporates strategy, intuition, and spirituality to build a business. So can you explain the audience what a holistic business coach is and how is the different than what is the difference with a traditional coach?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So, in our industry for many years, and for at least the last 25 years, I know our coaching, once coaching became really a big thing in our industry, was all focused on business, the numbers, how many contacts do I have to make to get how many appointments, to get how many sales, to make how much money. And although that is very important, I never ever discount that. It's very important because here's the reality. We all need money to live. We need money to take care of our children. We need money to pay for our homes. We need money just like everybody else does. So this has to be a conversation, and we do have to know our numbers. However, it can't just be the only conversation, because here's the reality. Real estate professionals know what to do to sell real estate. I know what to do to sell real estate. I've been doing this for 23 years, and yet I don't always do what I need to do. So the question isn't, do I know what to do? The question is, why am I not doing what I know what to do? And even if you were a real estate professional right now and you say, well, I don't agree with that, Carrie. I don't know if I know exactly what to do. Maybe you don't. There's no excuse though, because there are so many coaches and so many trainings and so many YouTube videos. You just Google something and you will learn. So there's really no excuse to say, I don't know what to do. If you know what to do, the question really is the greater question, which is, well, why don't I show up for myself and do it consistently? Because that's what's actually going to get me the results. And so when I have these conversations with coaching clients or my now business partners, I always ask that question. It's like, you know what to do, but you don't do it. And that's the greater question. If I can help you figure out why you don't do it, you will start executing more consistently. And that's the secret to success. The number one common denominator amongst all successful people in this world, in all industries, is consistency. It's not intensity. It's not how much they do. It's that they do it every single day, because the consistency is what creates the momentum. And so there's a couple of things about that I can dive into. The first one is you've got to lead yourself first, and your mindset is absolutely still going to be the most important thing. Because like you said a minute ago, Sandra, we struggle in our mind with thinking that if we give too much time to these other things, our business is going to fail. So our mind tells us not to do these things, and it directs us to go work more, or be in the office more, or make some more calls. So these are not actually conscious decisions that we're making. These are actually subconscious thoughts that are in our head that create anxiety, stress, that make us think that we need to listen to our mind and we need to go do what our mind tells us to do. But and I lived my life, by the way, that way for 10 years. I ended up having a failing marriage. I felt like a guilty mom all the time. I was trying to find balance, but I couldn't figure it out. I did not take care of my health. I didn't work out for years. I ate on the go. I didn't have great energy. All of the things that I hear other real estate professionals go through. And why was I doing that to myself? Why was that happening? I didn't even know. I didn't even really realize. I wasn't making conscious decisions. I wasn't waking up every day going, Carrie, don't be a good wife. Don't be a good mom. Don't take care of yourself, go work. That wasn't what was going on in my head. What was going on in my head is my mind telling me, you got to get in the office because you have to pay your bills. You've got to make the transaction sales. You've got to help these clients. It's your reputation. You've worked hard for this. Don't let it go now. Those were the conversations I was listening to. The byproduct of that was that I didn't have any balance. But I wasn't making a conscious decision to let my personal life not be good. One day I woke up and I was just like, I don't want to live this way anymore. And I blamed real estate, honestly. And then I got a coach, and the coach said, it's not real estate. You could be doing anything, and you're just listening to your mind. You've got to start living your life. Stop living your mind. And that was a fundamental moment for me. And I share that with you, Sandra, because hopefully it resonates with somebody that's listening. Stop living your mind and start living your actual life. And what that means is, start making conscious decisions, because you can do it. You don't have to listen to your mind. Your mind is not real. The thoughts are not real, meaning they are just things. So you can feed your mind with whatever you want to. So in that moment, what I did is I changed my mindset. I made some decisions. I realized I could have integration of work and life. There's no such thing as balance. I needed to stop thinking that there was because it was making me feel bad because I was never able to attain it. Well, no one's actually ever able to actually really attain balance. You're attaining integration. So, how do I look at my week and how can I make sure the most important things in my life and my business are getting some attention every week? And by the way, it's not always equal, and that's okay. You just need to make sure that there's purposeful, intentional time being spent in all of those areas at some point. So I had to rethink my entire calendar, my priorities, and I started to set goals for every area in my life. And that was a big game changer for me, Sandra, because as realtors, and you can probably think about this, we set goals for our business and we set goals for our finances. But how often do we set a goal for what kind of mom we want to be, or what kind of spouse we want to be, or what we want our marriage to look like? You know, I had never thought about any of that. In fact, I didn't set any personal physical goals or growth goals at all for 10 years. I was just all business. And so I was speaking to a psychologist. He's actually an author, Dr. Benjamin Hardy. I don't know if you all know him, but I highly recommend his books. And I'm not in partnership with him. I just think he's a phenomenal human being. I got the chance to interview him. And the book that really resonated with me is called Personality Isn't Permanent. It's a book by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And I got to interview him and talk to him about the book because I read it and I absolutely loved it. And I referred it to every one of my coaching clients. And what he said to me is, Carrie, you were never a workaholic. You just only had goals pointing towards one thing in your life, and that was work. So when you focus on one thing and you're just focusing on a goal of something, you become singularly focused. Everything you do, how you act, and who you become is focused towards that goal. So that's what happened is your identity shifted to being a business owner. Your identity shifted to being a successful realtor. Your personality follows your identity. So you did the things that a successful realtor, a successful entrepreneur would do, but you didn't have any goals for anything else. So all the rest of your identity basically was non-existent. So what you needed to do, and what I actually did do, thankfully, was I looked at my personal life, my spiritual life, my relationships, my health and my wellness, as well as my business and my finances. And I set one goal for each of those. And when I started focusing on all of those things, my identity shifted because it wasn't just about business anymore. It was about the mom I was being, about how I was treating myself and my health and wellness. So my identity got broader. It got more balanced or integrated. I felt more confident. I felt I had higher self-esteem. I felt better about myself. I was happier inside, which led to, by the way, more business. It always does, because you attract the energy you put out, right? So I was working on those things. And incredibly, even though I was spending a little bit less time in business, I was actually busier, which was a really interesting thing. And I didn't think that that was going to be the reality. And so what the holistic approach to coaching is, we're going to talk about business and finances, but we're going to talk about your personal life too. And why we're going to is because business is just part of your life. It's not separate from. That's just the reality. We try to separate these things, but they're not separate. Especially when we're an entrepreneur, I mean, it's part of our life. So we got to figure out, how do we have goals in all these areas, and how do we spend time integrated somehow during the week where we can give time to these things? And how do we not listen to our mind, and instead we take control and we make those actions, we make those priorities, and then all of a sudden we start living a more integrated, happy life, and our business will continue to grow. And much of it, you guys, is just your mindset around it. You don't think it's possible, so you don't try it. And I'm hopefully an example of it. So when I coach people, they get excited, they'll try it too. And then of course, things can change for them. That's my hope.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's really like, wow, how can we do that? So I know that you will say, well, you need to teach your mind to do that, because the same as we put our mindset to make the goal for the year, the same as we want to be the top producer, and everything that you put. And I always say that everything that you put in your mindset, you will do it.
That's right.
Now, my question maybe for myself would be, how can I put in my mindset all those different areas to be able to balance
That's
life?
right.
Because I believe that's where we all realtors, mostly of the realtors, we struggle. We struggle a lot, and it's not being able to balance life with
So
business.
and I agree with you, and I find a passion for that because it's, we have good moments, but I think a lot of realtors really struggle with that. It's like we don't feel truly happy deep down inside of us because we're not filling our own buckets. One of the most innate human needs is growth, personal growth. And we have a lot of professional growth, don't we, as realtors? We're constantly getting better and we're becoming better realtors. But are we becoming better as a human being? Are we elevating our relationships? Are we elevating our leadership, self-leadership? Are we taking care of ourselves? Are we feeling good about how we energetically and how we just take care of ourselves and look, and do we move our body, and do we things, do we pour into our children, do we work at our relationships? We don't do it very consistently. And so what happens is our personal growth stalls out and we don't actually fulfill the human need that we have. If we don't have happiness and fulfillment and joy inside of us, we will go look for it externally. And that was the story of my life when I sold real estate. I spent a lot of money when I made a lot of money to feel happy because I wasn't feeling joyful and peaceful and fulfilled inside. So I wasn't happy with myself. So I would go find fleeting moments of happiness when I bought a pair of shoes.
I'm having a
For
little issues with
example,
I'm having a little issues with the connection. Sorry.
a bigger house.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
inner peace and happiness and fulfillment. And I promise you, you're going to feel different about your business. And when you feel different about your business, you actually are going to be less stressed about your business. You're going to feel like you can actually go do these personal things for yourself, and you aren't going to have to worry about your business growth anymore. We worry about our business and we stress about our business oftentimes because we put ourselves in that position. So I really like to unwind that vicious cycle and turn it into a virtuous cycle. So start with making yourself happy and fulfilled inside, which will automatically help your business grow. But when you do that, you won't be looking for the external to make yourself happy anymore. You won't be so identified with your role as a successful realtor. You won't be so tied to every single transaction that you jump at every single appointment. You'll say no to things because you can. And that's the turning point for, I think, a professional real estate agent's life and business.
Thank you, Cari, for that. And we had a little bit glitch in the presentation. I think the internet wasn't working, but hopefully they will get the most of all what you said. So how do you awaken a client to consider all the elements of their life and overall health and help them tied in their business strategies?
Yeah. So what I would say the first thing everyone should do, and this is a great time to do it. I'm glad that I got to come on the show at the beginning of a new year because we're already setting goals, and you've probably already set goals for your business and your finances. And you maybe have already set goals for your health. That's one of the most common things people set goals for at the beginning of the year. But what I would encourage you to do is actually set a goal for your relationships, the most important relationships you have in your life. I would also have you set a goal for your spiritual life. That might be meaning religion for you. It might not be religious. It might just be getting more connected to something greater than yourself, whatever that is for you. I would actually really encourage you to have a vision for all of those things and write them down and read them to yourself every single day in present tense. This is really important because you said something earlier, Sandra, about retraining your brain. I tell people I wake up every single day and I know the very first battle I have to fight is the one with my own mind. And I do it every day. I wake up every single day. I'm a very anxious person. I can let stress overtake me. I can become a workaholic again very quickly if I allow my mind to tell me stories, if I listen to it. My mind is very strong. It can tell me not to get up and work out because I don't have time, because I have to call the extra client. It can tell me all the things, and it can make me very distracted, and I have a hard time being present. And many of you are relating to this because this is common. And this is the battle of the mind that you have to be prepared to wake up and fight every single day of your life if you want to be a really successful business person and have a good integrated life. This is the first battle you have to choose. So I pick this battle every day. I know what my mind's going to tell me. I don't listen to it. I do the things I want to do and I know I should do instead of listening to it. And every time you do that, it gets easier and easier, right? It's like a muscle. If you continue to work it, it's going to get stronger, but it still never fully goes away. So you cannot let your guard down. You've got to manage your mindset. So when you need to get up and work out and you have an extra call to make and you've got that offer and you're all worried, it's not life or death. It's going to be fine. Go work out for 30 minutes and make the call. Don't listen to your mind. Don't let it, yourself give in. So that's the first thing, is you've got to be prepared for that. The second thing is you've got to put a goal down for each of these areas. So like for me, from a spiritual perspective, I actually took that part of it a little bit more about me managing my mind. I needed to wake up every day, start with a gratitude journal, center my mindset, get ready for the day, know that I needed to manage my anxiety, my stress. Gratitude always helps to overcome negative emotions and negative feelings. So I basically mastered my morning with my mindset and then my physical being. And by filling my mind, my body, and soul like that every single morning, it set me up to be able to handle anything that happened in the day. So immediately for the first hour and a half of the day, it was, doing my gratitude journal. It was getting myself centered. It was working out. While I worked out, I always listened to an audible. So I was filling my mind with something that I could share with other people and it would help me to grow. And then I would, spend a little time with my spouse, my youngest son, see them off for their day. And then I would move into the rest of my day. And that really helped me to manage my mind and gain some really strong emotional and mental fitness, which we all need to work on, because as realtors, as entrepreneurs, we need to be able to do that. So I would encourage everybody to do that. And then I would always read my goals. So my goal that was my morning routine. That was my spiritual growth. That's what I was going to do in the new year. My workout, my health and fitness was I was going to work out 5 days a week. And I did that. And then I had my relationship goals. And that was a date night every single Friday, no matter what. It's an appointment, just like it would be a listing appointment. And it was intentional and it was purposeful. And even if it was only a half an hour, sometimes it was just sitting down at the dock for a half an hour, in the summer. It doesn't have to be a lot of time. It just has to be purposeful, intentional, present time, and it will move your relationship forward. For my kids, it might be a 10-minute face-to-face, undistracted conversation with them to connect with them. And that is going to make all the difference in the world. The one thing, Sandra, that we all think that isn't true is that in order to make an impact on something in our life, we have to have a lot of time. It's not true. I thought this was the case for 10 years, and it literally drove me crazy because I thought to be a good mom, I'd have to be spending hours with my children every single day. To be a good spouse, I had to spend hours a week with my spouse. In order to be healthy, I had to spend hours at the gym. And in order to be a good real estate professional, I had to work 24/7. Like, I equated being successful at something or having a good relationship or something being successful equating to time. And I was completely wrong. And when I realized it, it totally freed me up it freed up my stress level. And here's what the reality is. Success and time are not equal. They don't match each other. Instead, it's the purposeful, intentional, undistracted present time that you spend on something that's going to get you the most results. So I could actually spend 15 minutes with my kids before they went to bed individually, and it connected them to me, and it provided them the security they needed, and it grew our relationship just as actually more than when I went and sat at the park with them on my cell phone doing business while they were playing. By the way, I did that all the time because I thought that was what a good mom that worked did, but it wasn't connecting me with them. I was just there watching them. When I actually sat down and connected with them, that's what made the difference in our relationship. And it took 15 minutes. A dinner with your family for 30 minutes can make all the difference. And it's only 30 minutes of your day. A walk around the block with your spouse 3 days a week can make all the difference. And it might have been 45 minutes a week. That is not very much time. And working out can be a 20-minute every single day consistency, and it will transform how you look and how you feel, right? So I all of a sudden just had this aha. I don't need 80 hours in a week because I thought I did. I mean, how many of you real estate professionals, everybody says this to me, Carrie, if you could just give me more hours in the week. No. You don't need more hours. You have all the hours you need. I thought that too, but let me tell you differently. You don't need all the hours. You just need to be very purposeful, intentional, and present, not distracted, present in those moments. And they are not that much time. And you can integrate everything. You can have everything that you want in your life if you get very focused and purposeful about it. And that's what's exciting about this. So you can do it too, Sandra. So when you set these goals, now you have to take it back to your calendar and you have to figure out, what are these priorities? What can I do with my spouse that's reasonable, that's consistent, where I can be present, where we can get on the same page, we can reconnect, and it might just be 15 minutes a day. It could be a half an hour a day. It could be an hour a week. It could be just one date night for 45 minutes. But what can you commit to that really makes a difference? And that is not going and sitting at a restaurant and responding to your clients' emails. That's sitting at the restaurant with no cell phones and really purposeful time. And you can do it. By the way, you guys, nothing is life and death in real estate. We think it is. Our mind tells us they can wait for 45 minutes and nothing is going to happen and you're not going to lose the client. This is just the story your mind tells you. So I would ask you to, when you set those goals, figure out what's the one thing in each of those areas you can commit to consistently. Start very small. Start super reasonable, because if you don't do that, you're not going to sustain it. We need you to figure out something that you'll sustain consistently every week, every day. So for me, I started out with literally just a 15-minute workout, a 15-minute morning routine. I started out with the 15 minutes before bed with the kids. I started out with the walk around the block. Like, it was very, very little, but it was consistent. And I'm telling you, it made all the difference in the world. And then ultimately, I started to get more comfortable realizing these things aren't affecting my business. I can get more done in a shorter period of time if I focus, if I'm intentional, if I'm purposeful, if I'm not distracted. And that led into lead generation. It led into my recruiting when I was running the brokerage, all the things, because I realized, wait, I can be more efficient here in all the areas if I get focused and purposeful and not distracted. And it's a retraining of the brain. And that's why I say, Sandra, start really small, because that's how you will be able to slowly but surely make some changes, versus if we just think we're going to go from 0 to 100, we're not. It's not how habits forming happens, but we're overachievers as entrepreneurs. And oftentimes we think we need to go all the way for everything, go big or go home. That's very self-sabotaging. It won't work. So I work with my clients to just start with those very small things consistently, and then it just grows over time. And it creates a new lifestyle. It creates a new way of living your life and working your business that's much, much more fun. And it's not to say that there aren't challenges, because there's always going to be challenges. And there's some weeks that, you do have to work more than you would like to. There are also some weeks that you get to spend more time maybe with your family, because you don't need to be in your work as much. So there's always those ebbs and flows. But if you can keep some focus on the integration throughout the weeks, it really, really can make all the difference in just your happiness. And I really believe it actually will increase your business. I've seen it with nearly every single client, because oftentimes they're limiting their own growth because they're not happy. They're not fulfilled. They're stressed out. And that energy is really something that can impact your business.
Yes, I agree with you, Carrie. Thank you very much for all the advice. If I could have you all the afternoon, I will sit down with you and talk to you. But I respect your time. I know we have just a 30-minute show. I really appreciate all your advice. It's amazing. I would love to have you back soon.
Let's do it. I would love it. We can dive into maybe some specific things. If anybody is, interested in having a conversation, I always do free conversations, including with you, Sandra, anytime. As you can tell, I'm very excited about this, but honestly, I am very happy. I can say today that, I went through the journey I went through, even though those 10 years of my life were not fantastic personally. I really believe they were for a reason, and they've made me who I am today. They've helped me to be able to make the changes. And now I just really like to help other people who are struggling with the same thing. So I'm always open for a free conversation anytime, of course.
And you can find Carrie in Facebook. And I don't know if you would like to give them more information about.
Yeah, you can absolutely just Google my name. You'll find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Just DM me, message me. That's the easiest way. If you do find me on Facebook, I have a Calendly link, and you can actually just schedule an appointment right there for me, no cost. And that just would be easiest for you to find time for your schedule. And just let me know a little note in the Calendly link how you found me, so I know how to prepare for our call. But anytime I can come back on the show and bring some value to you or your viewers, Sandra, please let me know. I'd be happy to. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Carrie. I will take your word on that. I will bring you back, and maybe we can bring you to visit Naples, Florida.
That would be fantastic. I'm always open for that trip as well. Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you.